Hello and welcome to Kev's English Podcast, Real English every week with your host Kev Dean.
Hello. Welcome to Kev's English Podcast, episode 29. Well, it's been about 3 weeks now. You know, I did mean to do an episode a week, but I just don't have the time. I mean, for example, last Saturday, I was hiking. I was out in the forest in Bratislava, well, you know, just outside in Malacapiti, the little Carpathians. So I was out all day on Saturday, and by the time I got back, I could barely walk, I could barely stand up. We did about 18 kilometers, 6 hours walking, but we were climbing some very steep hills, and it was a little bit hard. And well, yeah, you know, so that's last weekend, and all my lessons and classes on italki, I get quite a few of those. I have hours available on Saturday and Sunday in the morning now, so I'm usually working and then I have other things. So last time I was talking about that search engine optimization stuff, and I've been using that on my channel. So I was watching some videos on my channel, on YouTube, about how to maximize your SEO, your search engine optimization. So I was implementing those. I don't know if it's actually working so far, but it's better than without it, I suppose. And what else have I been doing these last few weeks? Well, the usual reading, trying to exercise. Actually, I just started doing a new thing called Rucking. It's where you put a lot of weight in a rucksack, hence the name Rucking as a verb, and then you go for the walk. So it's not just like, you know, so walking's good. Okay, walking's an underrated exercise, but if you want a better workout, weighted walking, as they call it, or rucking, is a better option. You can get these weighted vests and all that kind of stuff. I don't want to buy a weighted vest, so I just use my big rucksack and I put 3 2-litre bottles of water in, and that's heavy enough for me. When I'm walking with that on, I can certainly feel it. And I also use that rucksack with the weight in when I'm doing some leg exercises such as squats. So I go to the outdoor gym 3 days a week. There's an outdoor gym at the back of my apartment, and it's got the pull-up bars and bars for kind of dips and all this equipment, you know, all the outdoor stuff. Maybe you have something similar where you are in your city or kind of town, whatever. So I go there 3 mornings a week. So I do Monday chest and shoulders, legs and abs. Wednesday I did yesterday. On Friday it's back and biceps. And now on Tuesday and Thursday I'm doing an hour of rucking, walking with the weighted pack on. And that, it's pretty good. It's a pretty good exercise. It gives you a fairly decent workout. It's a bit like cardio, but with more intensity, you know. Anyway, so I've been working on that and other stuff. Lots of videos for OET and IELTS. If you're listening, if anybody is, wherever, there'll be links below for my groups on Telegram for IELTS and OET. If you want to join, if you want me to have a look at your writings, join the groups and post something. I'll take a look at it. So I did some movie reviews, or films as we call them in British English, a few weeks back, and I've been watching some new films as well. Maybe I'll do a separate movie film review in the future, maybe for next week. But what else is there to talk about? Well, I was debating whether I should do what some other commentators do and talk about the news and current events, current affairs. The main news story that I keep seeing these days is there's American riots, the riots in California, in Los Angeles. President Trump calling in the army, well, the National Guard and the Marines. So that's the number one story, really. If I click on to YouTube, say, which is where I get most of my news, because I don't trust the mainstream media, because it only tells you lies. So some of the stories in the UK this week, maybe you've heard about them. So there's been some civil unrest, some trouble in Northern Ireland. Okay, so that's been happening the last few days. What's kind of happened is there were some attacks on young girls by migrants, and the local community, because this is just outside of Belfast, I think, they've been burning down the houses where these immigrants, the ones who've allegedly committed the sex attacks, where they are. So that's a pretty big story for the UK, and say for America, all this stories about these stories about riots in California maybe spreading to other cities related to the ICE, Immigration and Customs people, rounding up illegal immigrants into America. So there's been lots of trouble there, of kicking off. So that's all over the news. I'm just looking at YouTube now. There's some more about it. LA riots in the UK. So there's quite a lot of stuff that is going on there, I have to say. That's quite interesting. If I go on to Twitter, or X as it's now called, because I get most of my news from Twitter and from X, because the mainstream media, it just tells you lies. It's basically crap. So there's all English politics, reform, the recent local elections in the UK, and stuff there. Let me see what else. There's more stuff about America and the riots, more stuff. There's also been quite a few stories about that Swedish climate activist, Greta Thunberg, however you pronounce it. She was deported from Israel a couple of days back. So she was on a boat for some reason going to Israel and Gaza. The Israelis, they stopped her, arrested them all and deported them, sent them all out of the country. So they sent them back. That's quite interesting. So that's everywhere. And then what else? There's more stuff about the protests riots. Yeah, there's quite a lot of stories about this. This is a number one topic in the West. Riots and immigrants in the UK. Riots, illegal immigrants in America. So that's quite depressing reading about this, but this is how it is, and it's not stopped. It's not looking likely to stop anytime soon. So in America, it's the Democrats, the liberals, the lefties, the communists, well, pretend they're communists, who are causing the trouble. They're burning the cities down, looting stores. It's a nonsense. So that's what is going on there. Whereas the ones in the UK, it's ordinary people, ordinary Irish people who are not happy with having mass illegal, so it's legal in Ireland because they just let in anybody from anywhere. So it's about legal migration into Ireland, but the Irish don't want it. There's some parts of Ireland resemble Africa or Pakistan, which is quite ridiculous if you think about it. So it's ordinary people complaining about mass legal immigration into Ireland and incompatible cultures committing crime and sex attacks and all kind of nonsense. And in America, it's specifically the liberals and the lefties rioting against lawful authority arresting and deporting illegal immigration. So that's a lawful action that President Trump is taking. So there's no real reason for them to be doing so. But anyway, that's the major stories that is going on. So I keep reading about these things. Oh, something else that I've been doing this past week. I used to play a video game 20 years ago called Return to Castle Wolfenstein. And it was pretty good. It's a World War II shooter game. You're shooting Nazis and zombies and all this kind of stuff, and it's pretty good. And I haven't played it for a long time. And I found I could download it on a site called Steam. I don't know if you play Steam or if you use Steam. It's a gaming platform. I think I only use it for this. So anyway, so I installed Return to Castle Wolfenstein, and it's pretty good. I've been playing that for this past week, going through all the levels, trying the new bits and pieces on it. So yeah, so that's quite interesting. I'm not a gamer really, but that's a good one I used to like. So anyway, I've been continuing with that, and of course watching films every evening. That's something else that I do every night. I've been watching some westerns. Last few nights I've been watching some of the old John Wayne westerns from the 1940s, 1930s, 39. After his big break in John Ford's Stagecoach in 1939, that really made him a star. I mean, he'd been making westerns for, 12 or 13 years before. He started in his 20s, I think, and he didn't become a big star. Stagecoach 1939 was his breakout role. He was 32 at the time. He was born in 1907, and so there was one called Dark Command, 1940. Tall in the Saddle, 1944. And what was that? One Allegheny Uprising, 1940. So these are westerns, and one of the reasons why I quite like westerns, and I'm sure this is why lots of other people like the old traditional westerns, is that they are black and white. You know who is the villain, and you know who is the hero. And the hero, although they may have some tribulations, always win. Good always triumphs over evil. And that's one of the one of the reasons why they appeal to many people, and always have done. That clearly defined black and white edge. I mean, I know westerns changed in the 60s, mainly with the Clint Eastwood spaghetti westerns, where the hero was an anti-hero, though Jimmy Stewart's westerns in the 50s also were, he was somewhat ambiguous in a couple of those films that he did after World War II. But still, these John Wayne films from the 40s, and I think all his films into the 50s, 60s, and his last westerns in the 70s, he was pretty much a straight character. He was always the hero. He was never a villain. There was never any disingenuousness about if he was a hero or a villain. So anyway, I've been watching those, and I'll be searching for some new films to watch. I was considering going to the cinema recently, maybe see the new Tom Cruise Mission Impossible. What's it called? The Final Reckoning. That's out now. Or Ballerina, which is a new John Wick film, or is based in the universe of John Wick. Keanu Reeves does have a cameo. He's in it for a bit, and I've heard it's got some interesting action. So I don't know, maybe I'll get myself off to the cinema. Something else we've been doing recently, on Friday night, I found a new place in town, a club where you can play pool or billiards, as it's called. And it's got very good tables, all the equipment. It's a proper location. So there's a few of us go down there on Friday night and shoot some pool, something that I used to do a long time ago as a kid. Well, as a kid, when I was I shouldn't really confess this, but like most people in the UK, I first started going into pubs at 17. Some went in at 16, but I was 17. So from 17, we would go into the pub every weekend, sometimes every night, but every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And in those days, every pub had a pool table. Every pub. I'm not talking about bars or wine bars. This is like early 80s, So I'm talking about the traditional English pub. You might have heard about it. It's one of the things that England was famous for, English food such as fish and chips and cottage pie, bangers and mash, all this kind of stuff, So there's that, and then there's the English kind of pub where you can get traditional drinks such as beer. Yeah, English beer, traditional English pubs. If you've ever been to England, the UK, if you plan on going in the future. A visit to a traditional English pub is something I would recommend. The English pub, there's been much written and said about it. Many books about the English pub, because it used to be the centre of every town and village, you know. Anyway, that's a topic for another day, perhaps. But still, English beer. Now, so that's different from the a slight aside now. So we used to go to the pub every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. As I said, at those days, every pub had at least one table to play pool. So me and our kid and some of the boys, we would be playing pool all weekend long. So I'm pretty good at it. Well, at least I kind of was then. I'm not so bad these days, but you know. So, but then it's been 20, 30 years since I used to play regularly when I was back in England. That's a long time ago. So yes, it must be 20 odd, maybe 30 odd years, until we started up again a few weeks ago here, where I live now in Bratislava. So because that's not very common here, you know, you go into the pubs, and the traditional pubs here, it's the Slovak pubs, so it's all based around drinking and traditional food and so on. Not so many pubs have a table, so we found a couple of places with a table, and we've been playing ever since. Anyway, that's on Friday night. Me and some of the boys will be out in town, knocking some balls down and drinking some beer. If you've ever been to Europe, you will know that their beer is completely a different drink to the English beer. So what they call beer, we used to call lager in the UK. Again, that's a subject for another episode, I fear, talk about English pubs and drinking and so on. Anyway, I'll have to go now. I've got a class coming up in 10 minutes time. One of my OET students, he failed his speaking test a couple of weeks back, and he's got another one soon, and we need to work on his spoken English skills for OET. Then after that, I've got somebody from China who's taking the TOEFL test. Haven't spoken to them before, so that'll be interesting. And then after that, later, I've got a Spanish nurse who's taking OET because she wants to go to what did she say? America. Yeah. So she wants to go to America. This Chinese doctor wants to go. He's in America now, but he needs to work on his English. Anyway, lessons. What can I say? So anyway, a bit of a ramble for today, I'm afraid. Just a bit of an update to keep you going on what I've been up to. So I'll catch you later. Wherever you're listening, check out the links if you want to. If you would like to be a guest on my podcast, feel free. That's something I would certainly appreciate. Or if you need help with English or OET, IELTS, anything really, you can contact me at any time. Okie doke. I'll see you later. Bye for now.